Welcome to another episode of Plastic Surgery Uncensored. I'm Monique Marvez, your comedian co-hostess, unimportant person today for sure, because aside from Dr. Raban, board certified Beverly Hills plastic surgeon, we have Molly Sims, actress, author, model, and mom. So it's going to be an amazing episode. Stay tuned. Welcome to the show. We're so excited to have you because we have had some pretty special people on the show. But Molly Sims is our guest today, and she is, again, author, model, actress, and mom. Like, you are a mom.
Super mom, not just a mom, just a super mom.
Okay.
Super mama.
That other voice you hear is, that guy. That's Dr. Roddy Raban, board certified plastic surgeon, Beverly Hills. Here we are. And I'm going to let you take it away because I have so many questions. I'm controlling myself.
Okay, well, first of
holding
all,
back.
thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
I'm blessed because Molly's not just a guest, but she's a very dear friend of mine. And so she honored us by coming here today. And people always assume that, like, the show is about plastic surgery. So first things, Molly must be a plastic surgery patient. She is not. So I'll start out by telling you the reason why we're having Molly here is because I think Molly, listen, my dream would be for people to be happy. If you can get to your happy place and do it through diet and exercise or whatever, awesome. If you don't have to come to see me, even better. Not to say that, and Molly will touch on this as well, but if you need plastic surgery or plastic surgery is a vehicle in which you can get to where you want to be, awesome. But I think it's really important to also have conversations with people who have been able to get where they need to go by hard work, diet, getting up early in the morning, avoiding the things that, so people assume, she's a model and blah, blah, blah. She's this, that, the other. She's like everybody else. She's same biology.
I am a naysayer because there has genetics. Come on, genetics.
Of course,
No,
but I have
and
to
we're going to
say,
get it. We're going to
yeah.
dive right into that.
Yeah,
So
let's
so
go
why don't-
there because
why
my
don't-
parents could have never created this animal.
So
never.
what I was telling her before is genetics does play a role into it, but the difference is that genetics, there's this idea that people who are genetically blessed can eat whatever they want. They don't have to do any exercise and they're just lucky. That's ridiculous. The difference where genetics comes in is that some people are very lucky in that they have a great vehicle in which they are living their lives through. And that if they take care of that vehicle will take care of them. So let's go straight into it. Malls, thank you for coming. Yay.
Dr. Roddy Raban.
So,
That's how I can sing his name. 'cause
okay,
I love him.
so tell me, you must hear this all the time, right? People assume that, you're Molly Sims, and somehow just that, I'm Molly Sims, magically you're like in an alternative planet. So why don't we start out with, you look amazing. You tell me a little about your life in terms of where you are. I know that you have 3 beautiful children. Tell us a little about what's going on.
I modeled for about 20 years. I lived in Europe. I lived in Paris, London, New York. I settled in Los Angeles. I became a host and an actress. I'm now married. I have 3 children.
Gorgeous kids.
Thank you. I wrote 2 books, and one of my books, my first book, was called The Everyday Supermodel. And it's a little bit about what you said. No, I'm not going to turn you into a supermodel, but I want you to be the best you can be. And I think that's what I love about you so much is that, I'm not going to lie, I have perhaps stepped into the office off Wilshire and said, could we possibly do, no, go home, you don't need it. Well, what about that? Nope, not yet. Nope. So I'm not going to I have had these moments where I'm like, okay, well, what if you could make me like this? Or what if we could do this? But thankfully, your answer is no. Like especially after my 3rd baby, I came in here, we were checking on my C-section. He did all of my 3 C-sections. And he was like, you're healing great. I'm like, okay, what if we do? And he's like, no. So then I came back like 6 months later and he was like, you've got to like, go to the gym, you got to work harder. And again, like, I think people think that, she eats whatever she wants. You said, she's just genetically blessed, but I'm up at 5:45.
Okay. So let's talk. I see people all day long, right? You look outstanding.
Gorgeous.
And I'm not just talking about her beauty of her face, because some of that is just your genetic and you stay out of the sun, whatever. I'm talking about you're physically in amazing shape. I'm friends with you on Instagram, so I know that I see all of your workout videos and things.
He's friends with me, not on Instagram.
But what I'm saying is that I know what you do. So let's talk about you get up in the morning at your routine from morning to the moment you go to bed. So what do you do?
I get up at 5:40, 5:45. I make 3 bottles. I have a cup of coffee with coconut creamer. I hurry. I normally work with a trainer and maybe 1 or 2 other girls. I'm done at, I would say, 6:55. I get all 3 kids ready, dressed. I'm out the door at 7:45 with 1 child. I drop him off. I come back. I do another pick up for 2 children later, 45 minutes. They go at 8:45. And then I have moments where I work. Sometimes I will get that 9:15 workout in, and then I go about my day. But like, that's normally every day how I start.
Okay, so the first one with the girls, is that cardio or are you on the floor? What is that?
You know, I found after my 3rd child, which is a great question, like I was so used to doing like Tracy Anderson and all the kind of like circuit dancing. And again, I still dance, but I started doing HIIT, which really helped take out the high intensity. How do I say the HIIT? High intensity workout.
Training,
whatever. What is it?
Training.
High intensity cardio. So we would lift weights, but then I would do 3 rounds of it. And I found that actually my body, after so many years of doing the same thing, kind of had plateaued. And it really started making a difference. So I did that. I do a little bit of dance body. It's a mix of like strength training and cardio.
So I think here are the couple. I'm going to try and distill this for the listener. So here you are. You're a mom of 1, 2, or 3, or maybe not even a mom. And these are the takeaway messages that I think are really important. First and foremost is that this idea that somebody else is more genetically blessed than you and you got the short end of the genetic pool is a lie to yourself. You're lying to yourself. If I always tell patients who are like, oh, I can't lose the weight. Well, if you got into a car accident, we wired your mouth shut and you were drinking smoothies for 6 weeks, you would lose weight. So that's nonsensical. So number one, that's a lie that you're telling yourself. Secondly is here, Molly, who's a supermodel, mom, she gets up at 5:45. So the overwhelming majority of people who tell me they can't lose weight have not made any commitment towards doing it. A commitment is nobody wants to get up at 5:45.
Nobody wants to get up.
I promise you.
And even for me, I'll tell you, I do 4 to 5 days a week, and I'm not gonna lie, like I'm tired. I'm
it's
I'm
not
exhausted.
fun.
Like it's not fun.
No.
I will tell you another thing that I always tell, especially new moms: stop eating the chicken tenders. Stop eating the leftover pizza. So don't finish the plate. Like you'd be surprised that like my nutritionist was like, don't just finish the cheddar fucking bunnies. Like don't eat that.
Yeah.
You will be surprised, like the little amounts that you don't even realize. But yes, it takes discipline. I mean, it's what you said to him. We were talking earlier, and he was like, "You're not eating cookies at the cookie sale." You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, but because the thing is, like, so issue one is that you're not genetically unlucky. Number two is that you have to put in the work, and the work is so it's not just getting up; it's getting up, doing the exercise, and then number one most important thing, and I hammer this home, and she will attest to this, is your diet.
Diet is everything. Sometimes I'm going to play the exact opposite. Sometimes if you work out too much, you're so hungry. I remember I was literally training next to Kim Kardashian, and she was like, oh my God, I'm so hungry. And she was like, I ate a red velvet cupcake. I'm like, because we're starving.
Yeah, it's true.
Like you have to watch, like the more you work out,
it's true.
The more you have to really be diligent about your diet and what you eat and how much
so you don't
eat.
eat. So
you think you're rewarding
You're not
yourself.
going to Chick-fil-A and driving through In-N-Out and look like this, right?
I'm not.
Okay.
I would love to. I love an In-N-Out burger.
But that's the point. And the thing is, the reason why it's so important to have you here is because there's this sort of, I'm just a regular person. She has a dietitian. She has a trainer. It's all bullshit. Everyone has access to food. Everyone overeats. Everyone chooses to reach for the ranch dressing. What I'm talking about, all the people who are struggling.
I haven't had ranch dressing in like 30 years.
There you go.
I love ranch dressing.
And everyone loves ranch dressing. These are choices you make at the end of the day.
And listen, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't always make the right choice, and they're hard choices, but 90-10, I try to make the right choice because I know that for me, and I think, which is why I love you, it's like I know that I feel better about myself when I make those right choices.
100%. And
I always hear women like, oh, I'm just going to, like, especially moms who've had multiple kids, I'm just going to get a tummy tuck. I don't have to diet. Actually, you can't really, I mean, like, if you want the results of what you think a tummy tuck are going to give you, you cannot not lose the weight to get your, like, you can't, again, it's, you can't put yourself in your hands and be like, okay, I'm going to make you perfect. Like
it just, no, and that's exactly the case. And I think that the reality is, and you and I have spoken on many occasions, so there's also this idea that, oh, you don't need, oh, well, she's lucky. She's never need any plastic surgery. That's not the truth. That's not true at all. You had 3 kids. Your skin stretches. Your abdominal muscles.
I am dying for a tummy. No,
Yeah. And the reality isn't no to you because you're my friend. It's no or yes based on what you present with and what you need. And everyone needs something different. But the reality is absolutely that in order.
And you want a good doctor. That's what I'm saying. I always say when women, are looking for, a great dentist, a great dermatologist, a great plastic surgeon, you want someone in that profession to say no, to say
if it's not appropriate,
if it's not appropriate, to be honest. Like, and some things are, like, I know I can say that I have seen women do, different procedures with plastic surgery, young and old, that has literally changed their lives.
100%.
I mean, change their being, change their spirit, change their energy. Like, that's why, like, I will never say, oh my God, I will never do that. Oh, she should never do that. You've never stepped in her shoes.
100%.
You've never walked in her path.
And that's really important that people say that, because we're now it's funny, the pendulum is swung. And so now we're all about which is great, is the Me Too and the women's power movement. So now they're actually shaming individuals who, for example, oh, why would you do that? You're doing that for him. No, I'm doing it for myself, and I look great and I feel fantastic. And you know what? F you. Because it doesn't have to be all or none. It doesn't have to be where
life isn't all or
yeah,
none.
It's not a sum zero.
It's not life is choices. And listen, if it makes you feel better about yourself, whatever it is, I am a firm believer, then you need to take those steps to do that. I have friends who are dying to do different things, and I'm like, okay, well, try this first, then try that, then try this, and then maybe if all else fails, let's try something.
Yeah, no, and I think all that is so true. And I think the key to all of this is, number one, you have to want it. Number two, you have to have a plan, and number three, you have to execute that plan. We're going to have also another dear friend of mine, Tony Horton, here today, and I think both of you are so critical in terms of explaining to people that nothing happens without effort.
I have
Nothing
questions.
happens.
Oh.
It's funny. I said it.
You have questions? All right, why don't we
Hold
come
on,
back?
I will say
Okay,
one thing. I said this to my first grader, Brooksy. I go, everything is difficult until it's easy.
yeah, it's
I could not do a freaking burpee to save my life. First of all, I didn't even know what a burpee was.
I thought burpee was burping your
I
tongue.
know.
No.
Me too. The trainer was like, can you do a burpee? I was like, wait, what?
I saw Michelle
I did
Obama do one.
31 burpees in a row 2 days ago, and I'm like, I could literally not do 2. I'm
That's
like,
impressive.
I can't do it. Everything is difficult.
31
until
is
it's easy.
impressive.
So we're going to take a small break, and then we'll come back because Monique is like salivating.
I am. I'm like,
We've done 100 episodes, and
Yeah.
she's never ever been this quiet. So I'm going to unleash the beast when we get back after this message.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Plastic Surgery Uncensored with Dr. Roddy Raban and Molly Sims, who's going to take you to the promised land of You Don't Need Genetics. Welcome back to this incredible episode of Plastic Surgery Uncensored. When have you heard me say incredible? Never. Why? Because we haven't had Molly Sims before. Dr. Roddy Raban, of course, is in the house, board certified plastic surgeon here in Beverly Hills. So we were starting with your day, and you were saying that you have one workout, and then you send the kids, and then you pick up the kids, and then you have the second workout. Now, before we even get to food, we talked about HIITs. We talked about, I think, what you would call
dancing.
circuit, muscle confusion. You figured you got to shake it up. You can't do the same thing. I believe that some people go kind of unconscious when they work out. Have you seen people on the Stairmaster and then just like flutter their legs? Like, you're clearly very engaged and you're a master at this.
Well, you have to engage. I mean, and you also, like, I can take one class and I cannot do anything. You have to, your whole body. That's the one thing I do love, like a dance body. You're like working your entire body, but you have to physically move. Like, even if people just start to move, to walk, people get so like worried about like, oh, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do that. But, like, start by walking.
Yeah, I mean, calories are burning no matter what.
Exactly.
Right.
And and the thing is, people ask me all the time, what do you suggest? I said, I suggest whatever you will do. So
is so funny.
So they're like, oh, should I? I said, no. If you can't do it, then don't even bring. So you create this barrier that you don't want to overcome. So the reality is, if walking works for you, walk. If swimming works for you, swim. If you like
100%.
If you like hiking, hike. If you love the Stairmaster and you can't
Great.
do, burpees, great. Do something.
Do something.
Because what happens, this is momentum driven. It's momentum driven that Molly didn't start out this way. Molly was like always active and fit. And now she's at the top of the mountain because she's over time refined the art form. The energy begets more energy.
Literally,
the stamina
you guys,
gets
I
more
could
stamina.
not, I had no stamina cardio wise because I would literally just do like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Now, I mean, like, I just built it up slowly, like literally 5 minutes,
going.
7 minutes, 12 minutes.
Second workout of the day. You said sometimes you have a second. What is that?
Sometimes the second literally can just be with my baby, strolling him on a walk, on a run, like, or just literally just being outside, like in nature. Like, I don't have a lot of time. So even those like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, like, take that self-care because it will help you through your
So for the
entire
average,
being.
the average person, and Molly is beyond the average person in that it's busy, right?
I'm
so
busy.
you're like, I'm busy. I don't have time. Yeah, that's great. It must be really lovely. And I'm always going to constantly speak the voice of the naysayer because that's how this works in life, right? Oh, but she's a model and she's got all this help. And I don't have time. I work a job from 9 to 5 or 8 to 5 or whatever. First of all, that's bullshit. Because she gets her own kids, she takes her own kids. She got up at 5:45.
Made 3 bottles. I was counting.
So that's nonsensical. And the other is you don't need to work out at 5:45. You can work out at 7:45 at night. You can work out at your lunch break.
Doesn't
It's
matter.
all nonsense. It's all excuses because the reality is that you have to shave off 45 minutes to an hour of your day, 3 days a week on average. And I'm making these numbers up, but they just get going.
And also, I will say, like, something that's kind of become a little bit trendy, and so I want to be careful how to use it, but accountability is everything. Like, having, whether it be your friend, whether it be a coach, whether it be
I agree.
a trainer, whether it be your plastic, whatever, have somebody to help you with accountability, because that really, for me,
when you have to show up for people.
I had to be in a gown last night that was a size less than I wanted it to be. Like, that is my accountability. I have built in, which is a little bit why it kind of separates me, because I always have that pressure.
Yes. And
I
and so then that's a very good point. So for example, I'll give you an example of accountability, which I believe in wholeheartedly. So we have patients who want to have abdominoplasties or tummy tucks. So they'll come to me and I'll tell them, listen, at your current weight, you'll have a good result. If you lost 20 pounds, you'll have a great result. I said, I have a proposition to make. And they always look at me like, okay, what's the proposition? I said, you can lose easily 8 pounds a month without much strain once we tweak something. So that's 8 months. That's 3 months away. That's 20 pounds. Book your surgery. There's a non-refundable deposit. Come here every month, and I personally will weigh you. And
That
every
is
month,
accountability.
Oh, that's cool.
and
That is
we
accountability.
have what's called the weigh-in. And what I do is once you come in and you're 20 pounds away from your surgery weight, I'll weigh you myself. Once a month, you come in, you get an appointment, and I'll take you to the back, and I'll get you on the scale. And just the sheer fact that you and I are going to meet, and you're going to look me in the eyes, and you have not moved on that scale more than 1 pound, that's going to drive you to do it. And so accountability.
Same thing. I mean, like, when I know I have to do something, when I know I have to film, when I know I have to like it's accountability. It's like, okay, well, I've got to get into that dress. I've got to get into that bikini. I've got to do these 3 workouts that now I have such a following of women wanting, me to show them exactly what I do, that I'm like, okay, wait a second. Like, I want to really make it great for them. Like, even
that's
my
it.
girls, even my women, even the people who follow me, hold me accountable.
Is it at Molly Sims? Where would we find you on Instagram?
It's Molly B.
I'm going to
Sims.
follow you.
It's Molly B. Sims, SIMS. I have a YouTube channel where we talk about, different things. But again, it's accountability is really, I do think, very
I
important.
have to ask diet, because working out, I mean, not just saying no. Do you have a focus? Is there a direction that you go in predominantly? The people will say, are you keto? Are you paleo? That's not going to change your life. You have to have a sort of a lifestyle change.
Yeah,
So
it's
what's
definitely,
your
you can't
lifestyle?
live you can't live yourself on a diet. Like, you can't live your whole life on it. I think it's what Dr. Raban said. It's what works for you. Like, for me, I found out that, I had to have a colonoscopy with Dr. Nguyen, at the beginning of the year. And so he was like, listen, he was actually talking about, well, how much meat do you have? And I'm like, well, I'm O negative. I eat all this protein. And he was like, kind of looking at me, and I was like, oh my God, am I eating too much meat? And like, he wasn't judging me, but it made me think like, oh, maybe I'll do like 1 or 2 days less of like a meatless Monday, or, and so I found myself really just because of getting prep for the colonoscopy, going in, talking to a doctor, and being like, you know what? So I stopped eating turkey. I stopped eating meat for 6 months. I stopped a huge thing. And I actually lost weight. It's calories in.
So it's a very, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, there's no doubt that certain bodies, AKA blood types, AKA genetics, prefer certain
For
types
sure.
of fuels. That goes without saying, whether you believe in if it's this or that or whatever. Some people can eat more protein than others. Some people can eat more carbs than others,
I
etc.
agree.
Like everything else, diet in particular is incredibly tailored to who you are. And so what you need to do is some people, they go on keto and they shred, boom, like that. Some people go on vegan diet. Some people go paleo. Atkins. Why do these exist? And why are there millions of testimonials? Because they all work. They just work differently for different people. So if you are incapable of having a paleo diet because of whatever, it doesn't work for you, then find another diet.
Right.
The bottom line is it's very simple accounting. What goes into your bank account and what comes out of your bank account. That's it. There's no other thing. If literally you ate 100 calories and you burnt 1,000, you'd be negative 900.
Right.
If you ate 2,000 calories and you burnt 100, you'd be positive 19.
And listen,
That's
you
it.
know, I constantly struggle. My friends struggle. We all like, and I'm very, open about that. Like I know some people in my business are like, oh, I eat everything. Oh, I eat M&Ms and Chick-fil-A. And I'm like, really? I don't think you do. Like I'm very honest that, I love a meal plan. I love knowing what I'm going to eat at a restaurant. Like, maybe it's because I do have a little bit of body dysmorphia and I've been in this business for so long
it's OCD in the sense that you are trained to be successful.
Yeah.
There's this idea we give all these other labels to them, but in order for you to be a trained gold medalist athlete, in order for you to launch a rocket to the moon, in order to do anything outstanding, and being your best version is being outstanding, it requires discipline and premeditative thought. You do not just whimsically end up getting an Oscar. You do not whimsically end up being the best at whatever you do. It's planned. You don't understand. Triathletes, they prep.
Athletes.
And so
Triathletes,
reality
they really
is that
do.
if you, and now not everybody needs to be at an A+ game. That's not the purpose of this conversation. The purpose of this conversation is to say no one is lucky and no one doesn't have to work, and do your part. So
It's hard. You got to do the work.
you got to put in the work.
Personal. You have to make the decision to find out what works for you. So many people don't take the time to investigate self-knowledge. And not only that, but I'll take it a step further. In the Latino culture, it's considered somewhat vain, to take time and to say, hey, for 45 minutes, I'm putting the family on hold. This is my time. Or if you guys are all eating arroz con pollo, I'm not. I'm going to eat this other thing. And I think a lot of it is an empowerment of you're worth that time. You're worth that effort. You're worth that research. You're only going to be better for your family if you take the time to do these things. And some women, they need someone like you saying, it's okay. I'm a mom of 3 and I do this.
Well, it's okay. And also like, we're in the midst of writing my 3rd book, and I talk to women about being, in reverse, neutral, or drive. Like, where do you want to be? The worst place you can be is neutral. The worst place you can be. And, you've got to figure out what you want. If you want to be 20 pounds overweight and you feel good at that, great. But what do you want? What do you want in life? What do you want to look like? How do you want to feel? And again, it's like we all get stuck. Everyone gets stuck. I get stuck. You get stuck. Everyone gets stuck. It's like, but what do you want to do? Be honest with yourself.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that you touched on, which is really great, and I see it all the time, is this idea. Moms are very unique in this. You feel guilty.
Guilty.
Yeah.
That's what we
And
talk
the-
about.
and the reality,
It's a real thing.
It's
and
a
the
thing.
reality is like, okay, so I have very little time. I'm not, maybe I should be spending it with my husband. Wait, my kids need me. Oh, I should be doing this. Do I want to spend this money on myself? Should I? So there's all this psychology. And so I see women all the time for mommy makeovers, assumption being that they're great candidates and we're going to operate on them. And there's this almost like a little bit of sadness as they're initially in some patients. And I have to have a conversation with them. If you feel beautiful for yourself, you're an awesome awesome life partner for your husband and an amazing mom. And when you feel disheveled and fat and run down and you hate your love handles and whatever, you're resentful to your children, you're aggravated at your husband. And so the reality is that in an oddly selfish or unselfish way, you have to take care of, I always use the analogy, you're in an airplane. The pressure drops, 2 masks drop. Your instinct is, let me help my child. And the answer is no, because when you're unconscious, you're of no use to your child.
You're the captain of that ship. You are the pilot of that plane. When that's going down, you're going, you're not going to.
You got to put the mask on yourself.
You got to put the mask on yourself to help everyone else.
Right.
Exactly.
So that is really the main philosophy
I agree
here.
with that. And so many women.
So she's doing that because by taking care of herself, she's able to take care of her children, and she's available for her husband, and she's there for her friends, and she feels the best version of herself. And it's obvious because when you interact with her, you can sense it.
Well, of course.
You know what I mean? It isn't just she's pretty, but she's glowing because she is an empowered,
No, I haven't
energetic
stopped
person.
But I'm
staring at her
empowered,
skin.
but also because listen, I love my husband. I love my children. And I really do. Like, I love what I do.
You're
I
a
love
positive
that I
person.
can help women and mentor women, especially younger girls who, we are in this world of social media and Instagram and how many likes. And I was on vacation with my family, and it was about, I think there were like 6 or 7 15-year-olds, and they were at the little hot tub, and they were trying to figure out, they'd post, and I could see them like the likes, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like everything is about that like.
Yep.
Do you know how much pressure that is?
It's all about
so difficult.
It's all about external confirmation.
And they're not even in the moment. I do comedy on cruise ships, and I just watch these kids walk around the ship,
I know.
filming and photograph. They're not even on the ship.
I wish that I could say we're kids. I think it's pretty much everybody. Even my parents now in their 80s. We got them a smartphone, and we were somewhere the other day, and I looked at my mom, and she was engrossed in Facebook and this, and we were having an intimate moment. And the reality is that that's just what the thing does.
I know.
The thing pulls you in, and it makes you blind to the moment.
But let's talk a little bit more about the mom guilt in terms of like, I know
That's an important thing.
It's such an important, we're also writing about that. Like, mom guilt is real.
No, for
like,
sure.
It is, you feel it. But I will say in terms of like self-care, like, don't let your guilt of like, even if it's 5, 10, 15 minutes, taking care of yourself and feeling good about yourself makes you a better mom. It makes you a better partner. It makes you a better friend. It makes you a better daughter, sister, lover. It just, it's like if you feel good, you look good. And if you look good, you feel good.
I hear it every day.
And that's a real thing. Like,
Of course, I'm 100%.
it's, and people can say, oh, well, you condone plastic surgery. I condone someone feeling good about themselves, working hard and trying hard. If that ultimately takes something that Dr. Raban can help a woman with, absolutely.
Listen, if you're a mom and you have 3 kids and your breasts are down to your waist and your abdomen is skin and bones and you've worked out.
You've literally breastfed for 7 years.
And you have done Pilates and
Wow.
yoga, and you could probably
long time.
deadlift, and you this idea that you shouldn't, and then I can help you over the finish line. I'm not carrying you over the finish line. I'm helping you over the finish line. It's insane to say that is not worthy. And so, nevertheless, we talk about it, but you need to do these things for yourself. So that
For yourself. But it
you can't
attacks
ask
you from a lot of angles.
You can't ask your friends if this is
I
a good idea.
said to my girlfriend the other day, because she was thinking about doing something, and we're thinking about doing a tummy tuck, and she was like, I'm embarrassed to walk around, in my lingerie and my bathing suit. She's like, I'm never going to wear a 2-piece, and I'm like, then there is your answer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If
100%.
that makes you feel better, I mean, like, this girl runs, she does Pilates, she watches her weight, like, she does everything, and it will not change it. She has literally been trying for almost 10 years.
No, I hear it from every side because I'm the opposite. It's like, well, you don't understand. You don't have kids. You're not married. It's the expense is part of it.
Yeah.
They feel like they're taking from the family kitty. Like the husband can go buy a boat or, husbands can spend money on toys and things that they want. But if the woman says, that's coming out of the family kitty. That's not your personal. You don't get to spend money on you. and that's important.
It's important.
That's part of it, is financial. The second thing is the downtime. Who's going to take care of the kids and who's going to do, like if a guy goes on a business trip, nobody questions that. If you need time down, then it's like, and all of these things, people get attacked, Dr. Raban. It's not just from one angle. It's from every angle. It's the finances. It's the time. It's the money. It's the not being 100% at the whim of your loved ones. And that's
why I tell them you need to be selfish. Right. Selfish is not, there are certain words that we have just automatically. Vain. Vain does not mean good or bad. No. Vain is a word that means you're aware of oneself and it matters the way you look. Selfish assumes that it's bad. Selfish means I'm taking care of myself. So you need to be in that moment selfish. You need to tell your loved ones.
And also be who you are. Like I was doing a talk the other day with two women who are gorgeous, earth mama, baby, like they, are breastfeeding, like till
the neighbor's kids.
Till, like they are just the epitome of love and happiness. And, and I kind of felt like a little bit, I was sitting in between on the panel, but I couldn't own like who I am. You know what I mean? And I tried to breastfeed literally for 3 kids and I couldn't. It was physically, it's not in my cards.
Not your jam.
I wear a bottle around my neck. It's still not in the cards. I love you, my lactation specialist, but it was not in the cards.
Yeah, they get very judgmental sometimes.
No, not my girl.
Well, that's good.
But she was like, listen, I think we need to stop. Like, this is not happening. But again, be who you are. That's so much a part of it. And go to a doctor but have a doctor be honest with you. I love how you hold your patients accountable.
Well, he's mean.
I can, and I'm
in a good way.
In a good way.
I'm very direct.
Yeah.
And directness today is considered uncomfortable. People need their space. They like you to shimmy in and shimmy out. I'm very
sugarcoat everything.
I direct. I'm very, very, very committed to your best interest.
That is true.
And I'm not going to allow people to wiggle out of it and finance. For me, since I'm not financially driven, then there's no bias here. So if you're a great candidate, I'm going to tell you. If you're not a good candidate, I'm going to tell you. And if you're going to be a great candidate, I'll tell you. And I'll always tell you why. And that's the key. And, I think, having you here has been amazing. I knew you would be an amazing person to hear, but I just hope that every woman gets a chance to listen to this podcast, because in one way or another, some parts of what you had to say is going to impact someone. Because
I hope so. You only live once, and that's the one thing I can say. And be happy. Everyone always says, okay, well, when I turn 40, when I turn 45, or when I turn 50, like, don't let those years slip away. If something is, and that's, I'm not talking about plastic surgery. I'm talking about taking care of yourself, feeling good about yourself. Go to the gym, watch what you eat, try your best. If that's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, literally I can grab an hour by doing 10, 15, 20.
I love that concept.
It doesn't have to always be like an hour, because guess what? You don't need an hour to work out. Yeah. You really need like 30, 35 minutes.
That's true.
That is a great concept.
Yeah, I think that all those points that you made, and the key to it is you just got to get your ass in gear and do it.
It's hard.
Well, we love
Thank you.
And thank you so much for coming and hanging out and playing with us today. And
I'll see you next week.
we wish.
I'll come knocking on your door.
I'll be waiting for you.
One day.
I'm going to repeat at Molly B. Sims, because I think it's important. I'm going to follow you. I can't
wait.
wait.
At Molly B. Sims or mollysims.com. We have fun. We really do.
That's exciting. And for us, this is Plastic Surgery Uncensored with Dr. Roddy Raban, and I am Monique Marvez, and I can't even tell you. My Showtime special is called Not Skinny, Not Blonde.
I love it.
Yeah, because I'm not you. But
literally.
But wow, she's the coolest. Like, this has been a real pleasure. Thanks for tuning in.